Hello, my name is Wedoo and welcome back to yet another video. After not knowing what to play for a while, I remember that this year I found out what my favorite genre of movie is, being the mystery genre. And earlier this year, I got one game that fits that genre, LA Noire. I've known LA Noire for a while and know what the game was about. However, I didn't know the setting nor the story of the game. So went completely blind and explored the game with my own eyes and mind. By playing LA Noire, you can unlock 60 unique achievements, some related to the story cases, while others are related to the free roaming aspect of the game. This is how it went. We'd meet Cole Phelps, a LAPD patrolman patrolling the streets of Los Angeles, before getting a dispatch call to go to the industrial district to have a word with the detectives about the murder in an alleyway. This will be our first case, named Upon Reflection, and serves as a way to teach a player to get his ropes. We found a newspaper, a collectible, and a way to get the behind the scenes of all of the events during the game. Everything making sense in the end. We learn about clues and how to investigate the crime scene. We investigate the building lot, climb the drainage pipe, and get the gun that we saw from the reflection of the window. We head to the gun store, inspect the order ledger to find out who bought the gun, then go to the Schroeder's apartment, talking to him before he initiates a fistfight with Phelps being taken care of, and we find a notebook with a list of names in a drawer. We call in and have a flashback learning that Phelps was in the Marines and deployed to Camp Elliott during World War II. Armed and Dangerous starts with Phelps and partner Ralph Dunn getting dispatched to a burglary and a shooting in a savings and loans bank. We pick up a shotgun, however we drop it so we can use Phelps' own handgun and try to headshot the robbers, unlocking 2 achievements later down the line. We get more flashbacks to Phelps' time at the camp, witnessing his rivalry with another recruit, Jack Kelso. In Warrants Outstanding, we chase Wendell Bowers, a perp who jump parole, until he tries to fistfight Phelps, taking care of him and arresting him. We get another flashback to Phelps to him attending the Marine Corps. In Buyers Beware, while patrolling the streets, Phelps hears some shouting and goes directly into a crime scene, seeing a dead corpse on the ground. We investigate it, find a layaway voucher from the body, as well as some shell casings on the ground and guns in the trash can. We talk with an eyewitness before talking with Clovis Galetta, a shoe store clerk, interrogating her and getting useful information from her, such as Everett Cage, the victim having a falling out with Edward Kalu, a jewelry store owner, and that Mr. Kalu had some religious motives. By completing sets of tasks, we gain experience points that can advance our rank, which unlocks an achievement later down the line. We pay a visit to Mr. Kalu in his jewelry store, however runs away, needing to chase him, so after a while we arrest him and take him to the police station. Captain Donnelly, captain of the Homicide Department, assigns Phelps to conduct the interview for Mr. Kalu, using Mrs. Galetta's statement doubting him and the gun we found as evidence to get a confession. Captain Donnelly congratulates Phelps and assigning him to be a detective in the traffic department, unlocking Police Academy. Driver's seat is the first assignment we get as a traffic detective. We meet Stefan Bakowski, our traffic department, and Roy Earl, the chief detective of Vice. We get our first assignment by the captain to head to the PE Freight Depot to check out an abandoned car that may have been involved in a murder. While on cases, we can get messages from dispatch warning us about street crimes happening nearby, and by completing some of them, you can get some achievements. I did my first one, chasing and then taking care of the criminal, unlocking a cop in every corner. I went to the freight depot, talked with the officer to get some information about the crime, investigated the live hog receipt, unlocking one for the file, the bloody interior of the car, a bloody pipe, the victim's wallet containing a form of ID, and the victim's glasses, before talking with the doctor and interviewing Nate Wilkie, where we get more information about what could have happened. We had to Adrian Black's residence to inform his wife about what could have happened. However, we attend a couple of street crimes on our way there, and in one of them we needed to brawl with a perp, and I won the brawl without losing the at. Unlocking Keep a Lid On. We entered Adrian's residence, informed the wife of what could have happened, and investigated the residence. We found a newspaper to get some behind the scenes, and investigated a glasses case, a photo of Adrian with a concealed message, a train ticket, Kavanaugh's matchbook, so we can call in to get the address, an instant eat receipt, and a flyer. We go outside and complete the instant eat puzzle, unlocking The Plot Thickens. After doing this, we interview Margaret Black, Adrian's wife, and in the interview she lies about a photograph with a concealed message, so we showed her the evidence, unlocking The Straight Dope, confessing that she knew the truth about Adrian's affair. After finishing the interview, we head to Kavanaugh's bar and talk with Frank Morgan. We question him about the suspicion of trying to stage the murder of Adrian Black with him and get the location of his whereabouts, arresting him in the process. We head to Frank's Morgan apartment while getting some news about the blood in the car being from a hog and not from Adrian, confirming our suspicions. We witness Adrian Black alive and well, and by confronting him, he runs away, so after a brief moment, Bukowski corners him, arresting him in the process. The traffic captain congratulates us for a job well done, and we finish the case, unlocking the third degree, Golden Boy, and the Up and Up. The console car is our next traffic case, needing to investigate an abandoned car in Jacob's backyard. We go there, talk with the patrolman, inspect the car for the registration slip, the missing license plate, missing wheel, missing Argentinian flag, and the Dewey Bros wrench, before calling in to find a dealership and interview Mr. Jacobs to get more information about what happened, and Mr. Jacobs points to a notebook he found in a glove compartment containing useful information. We call in to know about a certain perp and about a diplomatic vehicle being missing, and its owner, to Juan Valdez, an Argentinian consul that is waiting for an audience in the police station. After taking care of a couple street crimes, we head into the central police station, question the counselor, getting useful information about the stolen vehicle and his association with the mechanic, Gabriel. We head to Dewey Bros dealership to investigate a little bit further, investigate the garage, doing a mini wrench puzzle, and then interviewing the owner, William Dewey, getting a lot of information and learning where the Delgado's residence is. Ana Rodriguez will open the door, getting the opportunity to investigate the house and the area surrounding it, finding the Argentinian flag on the table, breakfast for two on the kitchen, a set of wheels, and the missing diplomatic license in the shed. Then we interview Mrs. Rodriguez, where she says where Gabriel might be located. We move to said location, where we find out that Gabriel is taking part in an illegal street race, so we need to chase him down while taking care of the others. We catch up to him, arrest him, and end the case with 5 stars. We have another cold flashback to his marine days. A Marriage Made in Heaven is our next assignment, where the skipper sends us to Ray's Cafe to take care of a hit and run accident. We went to the location in hand, investigated Lester Patterson's body, get an insurance letter from him in his right pocket, his wallet with an ID from left pocket, got the coroner's report, investigated the blood and the wheel trail, and then in the alleyway a hidden bloody knife. We interview Shannon Perry, an eyewitness, getting more information about what could have happened, learning about an argument. Then we head into the cafe, get another newspaper to get more behind the scenes, interview Dudley Lynch, a bartender that was also an eyewitness of the events, informing about the argument and that Lester and his wife relationship was not the best. We call in to get a license plate number for the car that was seen running over Lester, go to the address and see the owner, Shelton, packing his stuff and running away. So we go after him and arrest him for the time being. We go to the Patterson's residence to check up and interview Lester's wife, Lorna. We learn about her partnership with Leroy Sabo and her argument with Lester. We call in to get info about the autopsy on Lester's body, so we go to the morgue, talk with the dog, and learn that the cause of death was in fact a stabbing to the chest and not the hit and run. So Phelps remembers a knife that he found in the trash can and connects the dots, unlocking stab right. We head over to the Patterson's residence quickly. Lorna passes the blame to Leroy, they argue, Leroy shoots Lorna, so we chase him. then shoot him, ending the case with 5 stars. A slip of tongue is our next assignment, needing to investigate a missing vehicle report given by Captain Gordon. We go to the address and see the car that was stolen coming out of the driveway, so we need to chase him, and I caught him before any uniformed backup stopped them, unlocking Noire in a hurry. Cliff Harrison, the supposed owner of the car, provides us with the receipt of the car. We interview him about the vehicle in question, providing an ownership paper and directing us to Coombs Automotive and about the motive of the flight. We directly go to the dealership. We meet the owner, Richard Coombs, interview him, get legitimate pink slip made out to a Gene Archer and a bill of sale, getting more information about Gene Archer and marquee printing. We call in to put in an APB on Gene Archer, and a certain James Belasco is in the Central Police Station, prepared to get an interview. We went to Gene Archer's address to find something, but the pink slip had the fake address, finding an empty lot. So we head to the Central Police Station to interview James Belasco, first providing his ownership papers, then interviewing him, learning that he is a stolen auto courier, and we press him about his association with Gene Archer, giving us a location of the stolen vehicle's warehouse. Ray Pinker, investigator, will give us an address to Marking Printing Company, also get the location of Gene Archer from a cop. Firstly, we go deal with Jean, interviewing her, getting information about her known associates and the complete address to the warehouse, unlocking Femme Impossible. We head to Marking Printing Company, talk and interview the owner, Gordon Latevall, about everything that has happened in this case, making him show a ledger, seeing a name that has come over before, Bigelow. We head to the warehouse, have a shootout with some gang members, shoot the engine block, make it fall down, take care of some enemies, unlocking shop, then take care of some more gang members with a shotgun that we found. Found Stephen Bigelow, investigated his office to find a box of pink slips, unlocking Racing for Pinks, find betting slips and a delivery note. Interviewed him to get more information for the large pink slip and his association with Gordon Latefall. We arrest them, go to Marking Printing Company to arrest Gordon, finishing the case with 5 stars, unlocking the Printer's Devil, before having more Phelps flashbacks to the war. The Fallen Idol is our last traffic assignment, needing to inspect a car crash site near the police station. We talk with the patrolman to get information about what could have happened. Go to the ditch where the car is, get info from the coroner, investigated the torn apart underwear, a letter from a victim's mother, and then the coroner will give us a prop stricken head as another clue. We talk with one of the victims, June Ballard, a movie star, and interviewed her about what happened. I used my intuition points to try to get the correct answer with more ease, getting information about the movie director, Mark Bishop, and pressing June about the torn underwear, unlocking the hunch. We head to the receiving hospital, talk to the nurse, to the doctor, and then to the victim, Jessica Hamilton. We interviewed her to get more information about what could have happened, getting a location with a mermaid. Saw June Ballard get out of the hospital, so we decided to tail her with the car until a coffee shop. Then went to a booth with a newspaper to spy on her, unlocking the shadow. We overhear her conversation, getting Mark Bishop's address, so we go directly there. If we take time to get there, we can meet some robbers. We investigate his house to find a saddle, a 20 grand check, a movie set replica, a photo of Mark Bishop and Marlon Hopgood in a store with a mermaid. Talk with Gloria Bishop, get some information about her husband Mark and his business dealings, call in and go to the Silver Screen prop store, talking with Marlon. It takes us to his studio. We investigate, seeing chloral hydrate, a one-way mirror, a newspaper outside, getting more behind the scenes, kick down a fake wall to see the other side of the one-way mirror, check an empty film canister and the film reel, then interview Marlon Hopgood, accusing him of using his studio and influence for nefarious acts. However, Roy Earl appears, revealing that Marlon is a vice informer. After getting out of the prop shop, some of Mickey Cohen's guys appear and have a talk with Phelps and Bukowski. The tension rises up, with Cohen's guys trying to take care of the detectives. We get chased, take care of them, and go to the Jungle Drums set to find Mark Bishop. After arriving there, he will run away, so we need to chase him. After catching up to him, we notice that Guy McAfee's henchmen appear, so we need to take care of them. while trying to protect him. We tried to use different weapons to take care of the henchmen, so I tried making progress on a later achievement. After the shootout ends, Captain Gordon appears, arrests Bishop, promotes Phelps, and Roy Earl appears, inviting Phelps and Bukowski for drinks in the Blue Room Jazz Club, a place that we are going to get familiar with in the future. We meet Elsa, a singer, and Dr. Arlen Fontaine, a familiar face found in many of the newspapers. After this, unfortunately, we end the case with 4 stars because we didn't get all of the clues. However, we are promoted to the Homicide Desk, unlocking Paved with Good Intentions. Before starting the Homicide Desk assignments, I replayed the Fallen Idol case to get 5 stars. After telling June, I went to the Bishop's apartment and went as fast as I could, encountering some McAfee's henchmen, ransacking Bishop's apartment so we take care of them, got additional clues such as the movie set photograph, then went to the silver screen prop store, found the props shrunken head mold, and did the rest of the case as I previously did, getting the 5 stars. I started the Homicide Desk with the red lipstick murder. Skipper Donnelly briefs Phelps and his new partner, Rusty Galloway, about a murder that occurred on the hills that are called the Moors. After entering Galloway's vehicle, this marked the 5th vehicle that I drove, unlocking Auto Enthusiast. I took care of some street crimes while I was on the way to the crime scene, and in one of them I headshotted my 30th bad guy, unlocking wooden overcoats. We go to the crime scene, we get information about the murder in hand from the patrolling officer, we talk with the coroner and inspect Celine Zerny's body to get blunt force trauma, the writing on the body with the lipstick, and the missing jewelry on the left hand. Around the body, we have a size 8 shoe prints, a Bumble Club lighter, and a lipstick. We head to the Bumble Club from the address we got from the lighter, talk with the temp bartender, Garrett Mason, and he directs us to Mr. McCall so that we can interview him, learn that Celine was present in the Bamba Club the night prior, and left in a car with the license plate number that Mr. McCall noted, unlocking round wheels. And got more information about Celine's husband, and that Mr. McCall called in the prior night. We call in to get more info about the license plate number and then head to the Henry's residence to talk with Celine's husband. However, the house was vacant, so I started investigating, finding a newspaper for some more behind the scenes, a female shoe, a missing jewelry, signs of 4th century by the window, and a note on the fridge directing us to Jacob's Henry apartment. We see a neighbor, Jennifer Organ, then asking her about the family, getting to know that there was at times fighting between the husband and the wife. We go to Jacob's apartment, confront him, and then investigate the apartment for the size 11 shoes. Scribbled a notepad to get a death threat note, and then interview Jacob to get more information about him and his rocky relationship with his wife. And at a certain point, Rusty will enrage Jacob, initiating a fist fight. We take care of him, then call in to get some transport for Jacob, get a message from the coroner, and to learn that the license plate number was traced to an Alonso Mendez. We go to the Central Police Station to interview Jacob, getting a lot of information about their relationship and learning that Mr. McCall and Celine had something before Jacob. We go immediately to the Mendes apartment, we enter the apartment, find out size 8 shoes, as well as a used lipstick and bloody socket wrench, which indicates that this Mendes person did it. He appears in the apartment and runs away, starting to use the car. With the help of Rusty, we stop them by blowing out his tires, unlocking traffic stop. We arrest him, Captain Donnelly congratulates us for fine work, and we end the case with 4 stars because of the huge amount of vehicle damage. We see Phelps looking at Elsa's performance in the Blue Room Jazz Club. Before going to the next assignment, I replayed the red lipstick murder, and I let Rusty drive every time that I could to avoid vehicle damage, and this time I was able to get the 5 stars. The Golden Butterfly is our next assignment, and Captain Donnelly rings Rusty for Phelps and him to be present at another murder crime scene in another hill. We talk with the skipper, the patrolman, and the coroner to know more about the murder. We inspect the victim's body for missing jewelry, rope patterns, small man's footprints, and we can also have a name for the victim in a purse nearby, being Daydream Moeller. And we get an address. We go immediately to the Moeller's residence, we talk to her daughter, inspect the house for size 8 shoes, missing watch and rings from the jewelry box. Then we interview the victim's daughter, Michelle Moeller, for some information about the family relationship and about the school dance on the night prior, that Mrs. Moeller didn't pick up her daughter and the dad did. Mr. Hugo Moller, the victim's husband, storms in. We interview him about the murder, his work boots, alibi, and butterfly brooch. After questioning him, the neighbor waves at us, and she claims that the night before she heard screams from the Moller's household and that she witnessed Hugo burning things in the incinerator. She points to him going to the incinerator, so we chase after him, and if we're quick and nimble, you can tackle him to the ground before he jumps a wall to another building, unlocking asphalt jungle. He was burning his bloody work boots and was taken to the police station for further questioning. We called in to get the address of Belmont High School and received the message from the coroner to go to the morgue as soon as possible. We go to the morgue, analyze 3 types of rope, the braided one being the correct one, and check that the Smallsman footprints are in fact size 8s. We call in to get a message that Grady Moller car was seen in Belmont High School, so we go there, talk with the janitor, and see a lurker in the background, so we chase him. After getting him, we question him, get a butterfly brooch, and he is taken for booking. Having the opportunity to check the trunk of the car for a rope that matches, bloodied overalls, and a bloody tire iron. We call in to set up an interrogation for both suspects. We went to the Central Police Station to interview Hugo Moller, getting his side of the story, also accusing him of the bloody overalls and tire iron. But in the end, I didn't press charges. I went to Eli Roney, the lurker, and we questioned him about the overalls that are in fact his, the access to the braided rope, and the fact that he had the butterfly brooch in hand. We charge him for first-degree murder. Captain Donnelly and the DA are pleased, and we end the case with 5 stars. The silk stocking murder is our next assignment. We meet a skipper at the diner informing us about a murder in the alleyway of the city hall. We immediately go there, inspect the body and the surrounding area for a bloodied stocking, a blood trail, a lady's hat, a personal effect, a key, a dot pattern note, more blood trail, and a library card that gives a name to a victim, being Antonia Maldonado. We go to her residence, being a boarding house. We talk with the owner, Mrs. Lepenti, and she gave us access to Antonia's room. Investigating it, we check a broken window, an arrowed picket, probably used to break the window, an attorney's letter on the suitcase, and a charm bracelet photograph. We interview Mrs. Lepenti for possible suspects, the movement of the victim, dating an Eldorado bar, the possible break-in, and the marriage photo. We go to Maldonado's residence to check in on her ex-husband, Angel Maldonado, found his apartment number, fistfight him, and the other suspect. Investigated the house for a bloodied shirt, just picked fruit market box with some alcohol, did some canvassing with the neighbors, and went to the Central Police Station to go to the technical services to check on a letter sent by the werewolf and a poem before interviewing Angel Maldonado. We get a lot of information about his relationship with his wife and about the suspicious brown coupe in the apartment. We go to the Eldorado bar, talk with the bartender, examine the divorce papers given by him, and interview him about the fruit market. We talk with an employee that is delivering some crates and go to the market directly to talk with the same employee, interviewing about the victim and his connection to her. We inspect the green doors to find large quantities of alcohol crates, a bloody scalpel, and a lockbox with the victim's bracelet. The employee witnesses us finding everything and runs away by car, so we chase him and blow out his tires, taking him to jail. The skipper congratulates us and we end the case with 5 stars. We get more flashbacks to Phelps Marine days. The white shoe slaying is our next assignment. The skipper assigns us to another crime scene in another hill, so we go there, talk with the coroner, inspect the body, find a laundry label, and then boot prints and tire marks next to the body. An officer decided to bring Catherine Barton as she thinks she can help with the investigation, informing the detectives about a nobo with a disfigured face. We call in to get information about the laundry label and about oboe camps, getting an address and the location of oboe camps. We go to Superior Laundry Services to try to match the tag with the name, getting a Mrs. Terraldson as well as an address. We go to Terraldson's residence to get more information about the victim, and the husband, Lars Terraldson, checks in. We investigate the house, finding a matchbook for Baron's bar, the victim's handbag, muddy boots, a wet jacket, and a bow rope. We call in to find a Bobby Ross to confirm an alibi and then interview Mr. Lars about the bow rope, his alibi, and then the wet jacket and muddy boots. We go to Baron's bar, talk with the bartender about the victim, get information about the yellow cab that picked her up, see the number that was noted, about the sailor, and a Richard Bates that is pointed by the bartender. He runs away by foot and then by car, so we chase him, question him, and arrest him. We put an APB on the taxi, trying to trace him and get him. We question him, send him on his way, and call in for the sailor that was last seen with the victim. and he is now located in the central police station. So we go there, question the sailor by the name James Jessup, getting his last contact with the victim and the movements prior to the murder, obtaining useful information about the bus that took her to her apartment. We go to the bus depot, get the bus route, and start to go around trying to find the bus. Honestly, this was the most boring part of the game, because I did 3 full laps of the bus route and I couldn't find it for nothing. After a couple of minutes, I finally found the bus, questioned the driver, confirming Jesse's story. We go to the oboe camp immediately, Rusty starts blasting away, and Phelps fistfights the leader of the oboe camp. Get his name, being Stuart Ackerman, and investigated his house, finding a newspaper, getting more behind the scenes, a bloodstained rope, the victim's purse, and then go to the central police station to interview him about the bloodstained rope, the purse, and knowing that he was in the war and gained his scars on the flamethrower duty. Finally arresting him. Captain Donnelly congratulates us, ending the case with 5 stars. Phelps is seen in the Blue Room Jazz Club seeing Elsa perform again. The studio secretary murder is our second to last assignment in the Homicide Desk, and Skipper Donnelly informs the detectives that the Molar ring was pawned and that there was another murder in the rail yard. So firstly, I went to the pawnbroker to check the rings and then the person's name who pawned the rings. The next stop is a rail yard. However, I responded to some street crime cases, getting my 20th in the way, unlocking Johnny on the spot. Arriving at the rail yard, we talk with an officer and then the coroner, investigating the victim's body, getting some vagrancy, missing ring, then looked at some clues next to the body, getting a name for the victim, being Evelyn Summers, from a shopping list, then a matchbook, and finally the victim's handbag with a movie lot job ID and an off-tone letter. We interviewed Jamison, someone that was defiling the victim's body, got a lipstick from him. However, he is not the main suspect because he was with the victim when she was dead. We called in to get more information about the liquor store, and we immediately went there to question the owner, Walter Robbins, leading us to the victim's bedroom, getting some useful information about the bowling lane she went to and a book with a signature of another person of interest. We interviewed Walter to get more information about her and then went to the mansion's bar. We talked with the owner and he pointed to Governor McCaffrey, so we questioned the man to find out some information, and now is our main suspect. We got called to the central police station by the captain, so we made that our next stop, learning that there was some concerns over the previous arrests. However, we need to put that under our hat. We called in to learn McCaffrey's address, but went to the bowling alley first to try to find out our next suspect, James Tiernan. We speak with an old woman that points to his location. We find him, however he runs, but not for long. He is taken into custody, and we go to McCaffrey's apartment, finding the second half of the torn letter and the tire iron, before a neighbor indicates that we go to the roof to look for McCaffrey, and in fact he is there, so we chase him, tackle him to the ground. Our last stop is the police station. We interview James firstly, getting information about their relationship and him accusing McCaffrey due to him having a run with the law before. We do not charge him and go to McCaffrey's interview, informing him about the second half of the letter, then accusing Tiernan. We go back to Tiernan and he's filled with guilt and that he was with McCaffrey the prior night, and in the next morning. We didn't charge him again and call in to get more information about McCaffrey, learning that he had a run with the law for almost killing a woman, being discharged from the military. After all this, I charged McCaffrey and the skipper congratulates us for a job well done. We end the case with 4 stars because of the vehicle damage and getting another flashback to Phelps' days in the Marine. The Quarter Moon Murders is our last assignment of the Homicide Desk, and we first start investigating a letter, a poem, and a book from the Black Dahlia murder. So while the officers argue with it, Phelps deciphers it, going to the Pershing Square on City Hall for the next clue. We head there immediately, climb the fountain to find a social security card for Elizabeth Short and another excerpt of the poem, leading us to the Hall of Records. We talk with the security guard, get access to the chandelier, find Deirdre Muller's watch, and another excerpt leading us to the LA Public Library. However, when leaving, the chandelier chains break, needing to swim back and forth to jump to the balcony. After that, we go to the public library, climb to the top, find Antonia Maldonado's heirloom, and another excerpt that will take us to the Westlake tar pits, where we need to cross carefully the tar pits without sinking. And upon reaching the other side, we can find Teresa Terralson's white shoe and yet another excerpt that will be taking us to the LA County Museum, and after carefully crossing the maze, we find Celine Henry's ring and another excerpt. This one leads to the intolerance set where we took care of Mark Bishop during last traffic desk assignment. We climb to the top, balance our way in the loose platform, find Evelyn Summers' typewriter ring, and the final excerpt that will lead us to Christ's Crown of Thorns, where we find Garrett Mason, the first person we contacted in our first Homicide Desk assignment, and he runs away. We find his hole where he did all of his atrocities with a bathtub full of blood, some utensils, and a statue. We pursue Mason throughout the catacombs and kill him. Captain Donnelly arrives congratulating us, however, they will not pursue the case any longer due to Mason being connected to a high government official in the US. We finish the case with 4 stars because of high vehicle damage and get promoted to the Vice Desk, unlocking the simple art of murder. Finally, we get yet another flashback to Phelps' Marine days. The Black Caesar is our first assignment in the Vice Desk, and we meet our partner, Roy Earl. We get set on our first task to seek out 2 dead junkies that used government-issue morphine. We went to the apartment in question, however, firstly we responded to a street crime, and after finishing it, I got to the 20th rank, the maximum, unlocking the brass. Entered the apartment, talked with Roy and the coroner, and investigated the whole apartment, starting with the junkie on the ground, found a wallet with an ID for a name, being Cornell Tyree, and a note related to a radio frequency. Looked at the junkie on the chair, then looked over the wallet with an ID for a Tyrone Lamont, and a number slip. And also on the ground, we could find a Black Caesar popcorn cup. Went to the desk to find a strange doodle with another popcorn cup and a music sheet. On the kitchen counter, found another popcorn cup with a morphine case attached to it. All our clues point to Black Caesars. We go there, and after trying to talk with the employee about the morphine, he runs away, so Phelps runs after him. The employee asks for help from his friend, and we fist fight away. After taking care of him, we get his name, being Fleetwood Morgan, and we inspect his trailer, finding some morphine cases in popcorn cups, a blue room pass, and the numbers bracket. We interview Fleetwood about the whole morphine operation, getting Jermaine Jones and a Merlin as suspects. We call in to find Jermaine Jones' address, and we go immediately there, talking with the man in question, investigating the music box, putting out the frequency that we found out, and then Jermaine Jones requests his men take care of the detectives, but we take care of them with more ease. We search the music box for morphine cigarettes and a stamp for Rames removals. Then we interviewed Jermaine, finding out about Lenny Finkelstein and his whole operation. We called in, find out the address for Rames removals, and go deal with Odie over his number operations agency, and investigate the slot machine using the characters on the strange doodle. Inside it, we find his secret stash. Odie runs away, so we chase him, send him back to his agency, and find a note on his cane. We interview him, get him into custody, and head to Rames removals. Upon arriving, we need to chase a truck with Rames inside, and after paralyzing it, we go to Rames removals again to search the warehouse, finding a newspaper for more behind the scenes and a large amount of water pools on the ground. We use the crane to move some crates, so we enter a fridge area, shoot the ice blocks, and find large quantities of morphine. After going outside, we notice a delivery truck from the Polar Bear Ice Company, and at this point Mr. Rames will try to escape, initiating a shootout. However, we end it as quickly as it started. Our final destination is to go to the Polar Bear Ice Company warehouse and talk with Finkelstein. We enter, but Roy starts a shootout trying to get to Finkelstein. We get this opportunity to try to use every weapon possible to progress on an achievement. At one point, I took care of my 100th bad guy, unlocking Dead Men Are Heavier. We take care of all of the henchmen, reach Finkelstein and take care of him, finding a large quantity of government-issued morphine. The skipper congratulates us, and we finish the case with 3 stars because of the high vehicle damage and missing 1 clue. Reefer Madness is our following case, and the skippers informed Roy and Phelps about a tip that was given about a marijuana distribution ring. Our first stop is Mike Lemon's bar. We talk with the informer to get more information out of him, getting directed to Juan Garcia Cruz and his residence, and by going there, someone immediately immediately starts a shootout. I went through the driveway, into the backyard, then kicked the back door, in for a much safer route into the house, taking care of the thugs and unlocking forcible rear entry. I inspected the whole area and found a silver dollar on the right pocket and a wallet with an ID for Juan Garcia Cruz, the one we were looking for. A notepad with the words Maz and K written on it, Parnell Soup Company boxes. Went outside to look in the shed for some unopened cans, picking it up, revealed the secret room with a ledger for the deliveries, and opened up some cans, finding out some dope on the cans, unlocking soup in the pot. Went back to the house, found a newspaper with a flyer to the 20th Century Market. Instead of going to the soup company, I went to the 20th Century Market and found Ayrton Sanchez, unlocking iFlyer. If we continue from here, we are not able to get a 5-star rating. So I just reloaded the safe when I got the achievement. I went to the soup company, talked with the receptionist, who directed me to Howard Parnell, in which he gave me his ledger so we could identify Jorge Juan Garcia's name on the ledger. We interviewed him about the soup and his employees. We got a walk around the company, looked at the ledger to identify the 20th Century Market, and interviewed Sergio Rojas, getting another silver dollar from him. We went to the 20th Century Market, chased the clerk, getting a reefer and a silver dollar from him. We interviewed him about the silver dollar and the whole soup operation, giving us the name of Ernesto Juarez and his shipment that day. After witnessing a delivery truck unload the narcotics, we start yet another shootout, using yet again every type of gun that can be used. After taking care of the thugs, we get yet another silver dollar from Ernesto Juarez's body and another from another body. Then try to decipher a special message using the coins, spelling Maz and K metals, unlocking spare a dime. We go to the metal foundry and have yet another shootout, reaching the boss of this operation, Victor Sanders. The skipper will congratulate us and take care of Sanders, finishing the case with 5 stars, unlocking every herb-bearing seed. We have yet another flashback to Phelps' Marine days. The setup is our following case, starting in the boxing stadium after Roy and Phelps attend a boxing match that Roy has bet on, being a fixed match. The loser, or that the one is supposed to be losing, Albert Hammond, has won the match and now everyone is after him. We talked with the manager, investigated the locker room, got under a newspaper for more behind the scenes, checked Hammond's locker, got bookmaker's odds with the telephone, talked with Mickey Cohen, then called in to trace a telephone number, getting an address to Hotel Del Mar. We go there directly to the receptionist to get the guest register, spotting Winston Churchill, heading up to his room and finding a telegram on the trash can, a magazine coupon with the name Kenny Edwards, a movie ticket stub, and the bookmaker's payout. We go to Kenny Edwards' address, which is in the Olive Hotel. After talking with the receptionist and getting a room, we hear a commotion in Kenny Edwards' room, needing to fistfight Carlo, Hammond's manager, and investigate the body, finding bookmakers, names, and a switchblade, and then the room for a bus ticket and a postcard. Candy wakes up and we interview her about Hammond's whereabouts and the bookmaker's log. We bid her farewell, but stay in the area, telling her in the morning without using incognito or cover, which is tricky and challenging, unlocking the Moose. Our first stop is a liquor store that serves as a bookmaker as well, sketching a path, getting our next destination, Examiner's drugstore. We drive there, talk with Mervyn, an acquaintance of Roy, get a cab, and call in to get the next address, being Ray's Bookmakers. After arriving, we see Candy enter the cab, so we follow it until the interstate bus station, where we Taylor approaching the bathroom, hearing a shot and a scream. We see Candy bleeding to death, and after inspecting her body, we find a revolver and a movie ticket to the Egyptian theater. That's our only lead for Hammond, so we go there, learn that Candy was stabbed to death, and the man that probably did it was Carlo, and the shootout starts. We take care of Carlo and his thugs, and send Hammond on his merry way. The skipper will congratulate us, saying that this is Homicide Desk cleanup, finishing the case with 5 stars. The Naked City is our following assignment, getting informed by the skipper that a fashion model, Julia Randall, was found dead in her bathtub. So we go to her apartment, we talk with Rusty and Bukowski, believing that this is run-of-the-mill suicide, but talking with the coroner, he believes she died from an overdose by someone else. We inspect the body, having a bruised neck, bite marks on the arm, and a black sapphire ring. We find a men's smoking jacket, sleeping pills in a container, hiding a benzodrine prescription, the location of our modeling job, and outside of the apartment, downstairs, we can find government issued morphine in a trash can, unlocking a good-looking corpse. We interviewed the housekeeper Virginia Reynoldson to know more about Julia and her state of mind. We head to Dr. Stoneman's practice to check on the doctor and interview him about his relationship with the victim and the additional medications. Next, we went to her work address, interviewed the owner of the dress shop to know more about Julia. Then she called a close friend of Julia who also works at the dress shop. We checked Heather's engagement ring and interview her about Julia, mentioning her fiance Henry Arnett. We get a message after calling in informing that we need to go to the receiving hospital as soon as possible. When we go there, the coroner will say that the cause of death was in fact morphine overdose and that they found the body of Jimmy LeBlanc with 2 morphine syringes and an harmonica in his jacket. The coroner gets called informing the detectives to go interview Henry Arnett, so we went there and interview him about the victim and Mr. LeBlanc. He states that he was in the Marines in Okinawa with the Fighting Sixth Phelps Company. We decide to tell Arnett, find out where he will be going. He stops his car on a pawnbroker and heads on foot, continuing our chase. However, he spots us, losing the opportunity to get an achievement now. We chase Arnett again, stopping in the travel agency. We ask the clerk for information, while Roy comes back with the item that he pawned, being a Fabergé cigarette case. We call in to check in on the messages about the Homicide Squad, having some news for the Vice Squad, and the location of the last arresting officer of Mr. LeBlanc. We go to the police station, check a contraband list for the cigarette case, a black sapphire ring, a pearl ring, and a pillbox, being connected to a Mrs. Eavestrom. So we go to her residence, interview there about this list of the stolen items, finding out that Heather Swanson, Julie's acquaintance, is Mrs. Eavestrom's daughter, and that everything that she owns was reported stolen, like her engagement ring. We went with Heather to Arnett's apartment, and I drove my 195th mile, unlocking miles on the clock, and also drove Heather without damaging the car, unlocking chauffeur service. We took the lift to his apartment, finding out Arnett lying on the floor and someone in the apartment. We chase him, however he knocks out Phelps. We inspect the suitcase after waking up, finding an expensive watch and a train ticket. Then interview Arnett, asking about his professional burglary ring, motive for Julie's murder, and the identity of Mr. Anderson that has come up in the investigation. And, in fact, is Dr. Stoneman. So we go back to his office, talk with the receptionist, then talk with Stoneman. Confesses everything and then throws himself out of the window. We take the opportunity to get info about the Willie's address from Bukowski, so we go there, talk with the Homicide Squad, and try to listen for a harmonica player, which is an indicator of Willie. We try to arrest him, but he runs away, so we chase after him, and in the end, he will be shooting from the tower. We take the opportunity to shoot at every letter of the tower, unlocking Give My Regards, and finally take down Willie. The lieutenant will congratulate us, finishing the case with 5 stars, unlocking 8 million stories. We have another flashback to Phelps' times in the Marine. Manifest Destiny is our last assignment in the Vice Desk, needing to go to the jazz club where a couple of homicides happened and there was morphine involved as well, so we headed to the 111 club. We look at several bodies, inspecting a trumpet case for a blue room pass and morphine in a syringe. Then another morphine case in a pocket, some stolen BARs, an army surplus of cigarettes. We talk with the hostess to know more information about what happened here, then went to the blue room jazz club so we can interview Elsa about the morphine and overdose deaths. Phelps stays late and tells Elsa to her apartment and does all the 3 things, while Roy is in the area. We go to the Mokamu Club to interview Mickey Cohen about his relationship with Finkelstein and the 111 club incident. We head to the police station and check with the burglary squad a ledger with reported stolen military items before an officer announces a bus shooting, and we go immediately to the location. We take out the sniper, inspect his gun and pocketbook, and talk with Felix Alvaro, another Marine, interviewing about the Coolidge heist and a motive for the shooting, mentioning Courtney Sheldon, a prominent figure in Phelps flashbacks and newspapers behind the scenes, unlocking the Fighting Sixth. We call in to know more about Jack Kelso's location, going to his location and interview him in the police station, getting more info about the stolen army supply of morphine, an ex-Marine named McGoldrick, the stolen weapons, and the Coolidge robbery. We have yet another shooting at the Roberts Diner, needing to chase down the suspects and take them down. We get another newspaper for some interesting behind the scenes, inspect the bodies of the shooters, find a manifest for every Marine on the Coolidge and his notebook. We proceed to the post office for yet another shootout, taking care of them and investigating the office, finding the dying ex-Marine Beckett, getting a confession out of him and a business card. Then checking another former Marine, Driscoll, for a note for a meeting between Mickey Cohen and Courtney Sheldon. We go to Grauman's Chinese Theater, where we find some of Cohen's thugs killing some other former Marines, so we chase and take care of them. Then we go back to the meeting place, take care of some more Cohen's thugs, and interview Courtney Sheldon back in the police station about the reason for the targeting of the Marines and the Coleridge robbery. Before Courtney tries to make a deal with Phelps, the captain and the chief barge in, requesting Phelps in his office, charging him for adultery and suspending him because of his affair with Elsa. Phelps goes away and goes to his home, but is kicked out by his wife and goes to Elsa, finishing the case with 5 stars, getting demoted to the Arson Desk, unlocking no rest for the wicked. The gas man is our first assignment in the Arson Desk, needing to investigate 2 house fires with our new partner, Detective Herschel Briggs. We go to our first house, the Stephens family house, get informed that the Stephens won the contest, and then inspected a Insta-Eat box with the name of Matthew Ryan, being the previous employee that serviced the eater. We talked with Mr. Stephen, getting his competition ticket and interviewing him about the whole ordeal, and that of a certain suburban redevelopment fund was trying to buy and demolish some houses. We call in to ask about the suburban redevelopment fund, trying to get their location. We firstly go to the travel agency, talk with the agent, get a ledger of the winners of the contest, have Stevens and the Sawyer family mentioned, then interview him about the Suburban Redevelopment Fund, and then leave to go to the address we got, being an Elysian Fields development worksite, finding a note from Leland Monroe. We headed to the Sawyer family house, getting informed that the family won the contest as well, however their kid got sick, so they were in the house while the fire happened. We examined the bodies of the deceased family and found a regular valve for the eater. We chase down Herbert Chapman, an arson enthusiast, and take him into custody. We go to the fire department to do a puzzle of what could have happened to the house to blow up. We went to the Insta-Eat factory, talked with Ivan Rezik, informing us that the valve that we found was tampered with. Then interviewed him, getting a list of his associates. Called in to get the serviceman with criminal records, pointing only to 3. So we inspect the lockers of the 3 servicemen, finding arnicus pamphlets and a mosquito coil. We went directly to the job site of Walter Clemens, interviewing him about the fires, leaving him be. Go to Walter Valley worksite, running away, so when the line of sight was clear, I pointed my gun to him, waited a little bit and fired a warning shot, making him stop, unlocking Not So Hasty. Then went to the Matthew Ryan worksite, then chased him around by car, then apprehended him. We went to the police station to interview the suspects, First Valley, questioning him about his service eaters, the Suburban Development Fund, and the mosquito coil found in his locker. However, I didn't charge him. I interviewed Matthew Ryan, questioned him about anarchist papers and his prior criminal record, charged him, and got our sour congratulations from the captain, finishing the case with 4 stars because of the high vehicle damage. We have yet another flashback to Phelps Marine days. A walk in Elysian Fields is our next assignment, having the captain from the arson department informing us about another fire that has taken lives. We immediately go there, get informed that the bodies of the victims, the Morellis, were removed after their deaths. So we inspect the surrounding area for a photo of the family and then inspect the bodies. After going outside and having a talk with Briggs, we found a newspaper lying on the ground and a eater box serviced by Matthew Ryan. On the neighbor's front yard, we can find cigarette butts and some footprints. We talked with the neighbor about the fire and its suspicious activity, the planned demolitions and the contest. Briggs will find an origami crane, and after being unfolded, it turns out it is a promotional flyer after all, and the neighbor arrives with his own promotional flyer. We called in to know the location of the Elysian Field offices. We firstly checked Rancho Escondido to check the properties, needing to take care of the enraged bystanders, attacking the police, and then check the structure of the house, finding a brick with poor quality cement and placing it, the foundation comes down. We go to the main offices of Elysian Fields to interview the main man, Leland Monroe, about his link to the arsons, promotional contest, his land acquisitions, and the Rancho Escondido fire, making him spill his guts about the advertisement campaign, unlocking Exter. Leland in the end gives the detectives the names of his flyers distributors, having Herbert Chapman as a person of interest, and we called in to get Chapman's address. Phelps goes to the Blue Room Jazz Club to watch Elsa sing when Roy Earl arrives to give him some words about ceasing to investigate the Elysian Fields. We learn Chapman's address, drive there, inspect his trunk, find a mosquito coil, ammunition, and flyers to the travel contest. He notices us entering a trolley, so we need to chase him around, killing him in the process. Elsa and Phelps enter the apartment, talking about the insurance that Elsa received, noticing that Elsa's friend worked for Elysian Fields, and tries to get Elsa to talk with Jack Kelso, finishing the case with 5 stars. House of Sticks is our following assignment, and we start off as Jack Kelso getting visited by Elsa and getting asked by her to investigate possible insurance fraud. We check out Elsa's friend, Lou Buckwalter's file, and interview her about the payout, her connection to Buckwalter, and the motive for the disputes, getting Elsa's phone number and address in the end. Kelso gets called to his boss, Curtis Benson, for an appointment, and we go straight ahead, having Benson saying to not consider Elsa's suspicions. We go to the Elysian Fields, a work site, to find a cement delivery receipt, a demolition order, and a company memo. Going outside, the site foreman will initiate a fist fight, giving you the address of the house where Lou died. So we go there, inspect the house, and find that the house is made from the wood of Keystone films, being very fragile. While Jack is investigating it, the site foreman tries to run over Kelso with a bulldozer, so we need to run and escape. After escaping, we call in to try and get the address of the Keystone Film Studio. We go there, talk with the security guard, and then jump the fence, finding the lumber delivery receipt, inferior quality sticker, a film with the Suburban Development Fund being founded, and a film canister. We call in to confront Mr. Benson, who is part of the fund, and then contact Elsa for them both to meet. They share information whilst Phelps appears trying to know what happened. Back to Kelso, he will investigate another worksite of Elysian Fields, investigating a house, finding a lot of faulty things before 3 mobsters appears. You can lose this fight, and Kelso is taken to the trunk of a car. Kelso manages to run away, but is chased by the thugs, needing to get rid of them and get to Elsa's apartment, where he faints, finishing the case with 5 stars. We get another flashback to Phelps' time in the Marines. A pull-out invitation is the next case. Kelso wakes up and discusses what he learned with Elsa and Leonard Peterson, offering a job as an investigator for the district attorney. Kelso accepts and goes to Mr. Benson's apartment. They discuss it over, and Kelso searches the apartment, finding an insurance agreement, a share certificate, and a 12-year-old girl in Benson's bed. We interview him about the share certificates, the insurance agreement, and the loose statements. Then head over to California Fire and Life offices to search for loose cases, getting the longitude, latitude, the date, and the new value of the property before Phelps arrives so they can discuss their findings and their companionship. Kelso adds to the Hall of Records to investigate the registry room. We look for the ledger for the Suburban Redevelopment Fund, finding Courtney Sheldon's name, then searching the location with the latitude and longitude, and then search the value of the estate. In the meantime, some thugs appear, so we need to take them out. We find Courtney Sheldon and ask him about the fund, informing him that his mentor, Fontaine, is part of the fund. Kelso, after arriving at his apartment, receives a call from Leland Moreau, inviting him to his house, so Kelso gets his former Marine companions to join in on the action. We take care of dozens of thugs, trying to use every type of weapon available. We find Leland Moreau, immobilize him, and search his office, finding a newspaper for more behind the scenes, a criminal intelligence report, a payroll, having Roy Earl on the list several times, some shares, and a list of names, mentioning the Morellis, Stephens, and the Sawyers. Kelso talks with Biggs, however Biggs informs that Elsa is missing and Kelso goes away, finishing the case with 5 stars. Nicholson electroplating is our second to last case. Biggs and Phelps are discussing the Elysian Field case when an explosion goes off. When reaching the site of the explosion, we take care of some looters and investigate the site, finding an airplane part, unlocking the nose, find a laundry tag and a briefcase containing a spy camera, a business card with the name Tomoko Okamoto, ornate ball or earring, and a puzzle that will lead us to an address. We interviewed Fred Nicholson, the owner of the building that blew up, and interviewed him about the explosion, Okamoto's whereabouts, and McClellan's whereabouts. We called in to know more about the piece of the airplane we found, as well as the address of the Superior Laundry Service. We went to Okamoto's apartment, searched the apartment, found a body in the fridge, and a class ring, a wristwatch, then found a tie pin, an another ornate ball with a microfilm, unlocking skeletons in the icebox. We went to the Superior Laundry Service store, inspecting the ledger and then calling in to know the info about the airplane part directing us to use aircraft. We went to the hangar, got access to it because Biggs knows Vernon Mapes, a retired cop and now the head of security of the hangar. We interview Mapes and about the explosion, knowledge of Okamoto and of McClellan. Then investigate the hangar, finding limitless oil, navigation note and Bahamas inside the airplane, a mechanic maintaining a prop spinner and a couple of photographs. We return to the police station, talk with Ray Pinker, investigate the photos that we got, finding interesting information, have a little experiment, then read the aluminum polishing patent. Then head to the house in a photograph, find a passport and a ticket. Mapes sets the house on fire, needing to get away and chase Mapes to the hangar, unlocking out of the frying pan. A shootout will start between the detectives and the MPs, and some MPs officers will appear by car, so we need to shoot down the driver before they get out of the car, unlocking bulletproof windshield. This achievement took me a while to get, but after a couple of tries and using other types of gun, I was able to do it. We proceed into the hangar and take down more MPs and Vernon Mapes. The skipper congratulates Phelps and Biggs, unlocking the big and friendly, finishing the case with 5 stars. Our last case begins, being a different kind of war. We start with Elsa visiting Dr. Fontaine, however Elsa talks about Kelso and Fontaine knocks her out. A mysterious figure appears, strangles Fontaine and takes Elsa away. In the meantime, Kelso travels to the Rapid Exterminators, asking about an employee, getting a newspaper for more behind the scenes, now involving Phelps, discovering Courtney Sheldon's body, confronting Roy Earl. Then Kelso goes to the nuclear bug and rodent control, however he finds nothing. And lastly, he goes to Westlake Pest Control, discovering that the employee he is trying to find lives in a ranch. We go over to Phelps, arriving at Fontaine's estate, searching and finding a morphine cabinet, unlocking Magpie. Found our last newspaper for the behind the scenes, Fontaine's blackmail papers, a crystal ball, and a sketched a freeway. We go back also, so arriving at the ranch, finding a flamethrower, LA River Tunnels map, origami cranes, and a photo of the Fighting Sixth, discovering that this arsonist is Zara, a member of the flamethrower squad. Kelso calls in and tries to inform Phelps. Phelps gets his call, tries to go to the location in hand, however sees Kelso being chased by the police, so we need to take care of the chasers, helping Kelso. We finally reach the LA River and Peterson, the next district attorney, helps Phelps and Kelso while they go into the sewers. Kelso needs to take care of every enemy he can find, using every type of gun, and then, after finding a room with a flamethrower, he uses it on the enemies, unlocking Roscoe and friends. After taking care of more enemies, we find Elsa and Ira. Phelps arrives and takes Elsa, while Kelso takes care of Ira. We get the second to final flashback to the war, before going back to the present, Phelps saving Elsa and then Kelso, before saying his final goodbye. We cut back to Phelps' funeral, where Earl is talking about the heroics of Phelps, and Jack admits that he was never Phelps' friend, however, he wasn't his enemy either, finishing the game, unlocking Moth to a Flame. We get a final war flashback where Courtney is preparing to steal the large shipment of morphine, but Kelso and a couple of members of the Fighting Sixth turn down. We finish the game, but still have a couple of achievements left to unlock, starting with the easiest ones, then going to the hardest ones. From the main story, you can actually track down and complete most of the tasks, leaving a tiny portion of what's left to the free roam aspect of the game. Firstly, I unlocked the Phantom Corsair, an hidden vehicle, and I just drove around a large route at the max speed that I could get, unlocking Let Foot. Then I went around to find every landmark of the map. This one is super easy because we already got most of them during the cases, and after a while, I found my last landmark, unlocking Star Map. I drove around a little bit more, getting in and driving 40 different vehicles, unlocking Auto Collector. The next step was clearing all of the street crimes. This one was super simple because in between cases and going to one place or another, I cleared most of them, having only 5 left to do. Every department has a certain amount of street crimes, so you just need to go for every room of each desk to find the yellow street crimes, which are the ones you need to complete. The Vice Desk was my last one and I completed it pretty easily, unlocking the long arm of the law. The following task in hand is to get every single case to 5 stars, but I played the Naked City case just to follow Henry Arnett without getting spotted, unlocking Fake Lou. I needed to play only 4 cases. The first one was the studio secretary murder. I just let Rusty drive to the locations to not get vehicle damage, and by doing so I got the 5 stars. The Quarter Moon murders was the same concept, just let Rusty drive to the locations and the 5 stars is obtainable. In the Black Caesar, I need to inspect a morphine syringe that was lying on the ground, being the only clue that I didn't get. Then just let Roy drive around to not get the eye vehicle damage, getting our 5 stars. The Gas Man was the only case left without 5 stars, and it was due to eye vehicle damage, meaning I just needed to let Biggs drive around, getting our last 5-star case, unlocking Seamus to the stars. The next achievement can be tricky on paper, but it's pretty easy to be honest. I started to replay our first traffic case, the driver's seat, which is the shortest one, and before going to the rail yard, I went to the Phantom Corsair and just destroyed the car while going at the max speed and going into cars. I repeated this process about 5 to 6 times and just completed the case normally, getting me a $67,000 fine for vehicle damage, unlocking Public Menace. The last 3 achievements are the hardest ones. The next one being finding and inspecting all the gold film reels, driving every vehicle in the city and reaching 100% game completion. I won't lie to you, these ones took a while and I needed to get some guides to know the location of the gold film reels and the cars, and without those guides, honestly, I will still be here trying to find them. I tried to get the reels first because they have a guaranteed location, but they are scattered around the whole map, so that's why it took a while, and they are 50. After 4 hours of searching and inspecting the gold film reels, I got my 50th, unlocking Hollywoodland. While I was searching the film reels, I also tried to enter every car I had seen, taking down the hardest ones. Some of the cars are associated with certain street crimes or certain cases, while others have a fixed location. After 5 hours, I was able to find every vehicle that didn't have a fixed location, and the other vehicles were hidden vehicles, and those took around 20 minutes to get. So in the end, I got my 95th car, unlocking Auto Fanatic, and finally the City of the Angels, for reaching 100% game completion. We got all of the achievements, but how did I do? I have got all of these 60 achievements in a little under 53 hours, and by far this was my favorite game to play this year. This can be biased due to the fact that the game genre is my favorite, however, I enjoyed this game to its full potential. I enjoyed the dynamic between Phelps and his partners, while with Bukowski being a sort of a best friend for Cole in his early days as a detective, Rusty being his mentor and opening up to him at the end of the Homicide Desk, Roy Earl and his rivalry with Phelps, often butting heads, and finally Biggs, cop that has taken the back seat being in the arson department. However, his flame returns, no pun intended, because of Phelps wanting to do the right thing. My favorite dynamic was Phelps and Kelso, because they weren't always on the same or best terms, but respected each other and their work, not needing to be friends to accomplish great things. This game is not perfect, of course, and has its flaws, like most of the Homicide and Vice Desk cases being almost 1 hour each, the golden film reels being scattered around the map without any indication, or getting every vehicle and literally entering and driving every car you see. This will probably be my longest video, being on par with The Walking Dead and The Witcher, so I will appreciate you showing some support. As it is obvious, I'm again torn between what games to get all of the achievements or complete, but I will eventually figure it out. If you are interested in any more videos like this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching the video, and see you on the next one.